in this life, equivalent and exact way. That Allah will send him a messenger in the day of judgment, or Allah, in one narration, that Allah Himself will be a messenger to call them, to submit to Him, and to follow His guidance, and they will have a fitna, there will be a trial on that day. So they will be told that there will be something that appears to them like a hell, and if they listen to the messenger, that comes to them, the messenger that comes to them, if they listen to them, then that fire that they see is basically paradise. And the other way around, which they see something, garden, etc., then it feels to them that as if it's a beautiful area, etc. And at the same time, it's just like the beauty of this life. People, they will follow their desire, etc. And that's why at the end, the consequence of that is they end up by basically disbelieving in God and failing into the hellfire. So it's equivalent test, and Allah confirmed in the Quran, Allah will never wrong no one, Allah will never oppress no one. So they will have a test in the hereafter, and then the same thing as some scholars they said, as Allah stated in the Quran, وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. We'll punish no one until we send the messenger. So those ones who didn't receive the true message of Islam, then Allah will not punish them until the clear message comes to them, either now or in the hereafter, until that the true message, they will realize what is the true message of Islam, and then they will follow it. That's as simple as that and as basic as that.
Thank you. So if I correctly understand you, they are given a sort of moral dilemma where they're like shown what looks like a sort of paradise, and
yes.
If they sort of reject God or commit an immoral action, they can go there, but actually it'll be hell.
Yes.
And then they're given an image of something terrible. It's like if you do the right thing and you obey, God, Allah, you'll go there.
Yes.
But it's again an illusion. It's actually paradise.
Yeah, it's it is something like that. Yeah. So that's a proper test. So that's why here, that for example, us living here in this life, for example, we don't, yes, we have desires. We have the desire of food, the desire of sexual intimacy, all of these things. But God told us to control it, not to unleash our desire to follow whatever we want to do. It's basically to control. We're allowed to eat except those things which God prohibited. We're allowed to drink except those things which God prohibited. We're allowed as well to get married, and of course, and we're not allowed to do certain things and to commit, for example, any sexual act, other than, for example, the marriage which is recognized in Islam. So these are the things. This is a test for us in this life. So that's what God is telling us, and what that's what God. And the most important thing is just believing the concept of God, following the commandments of God, and following the instruction of God, and of course, in the way and methodology of His prophets and messengers, all of them, ended by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. This is what we are, what we are following in this life. Well, may I ask you, what's your faith, by the way? Do you follow any particular faith?
I'm afraid I'm a disbeliever. I'm an atheist.
You are an atheist? Do you believe there is no higher being whatsoever?
I mean, I think when it comes to sort of questions of that sort, I think we should all exercise a certain amount of humility in terms of our certainty about things of that nature. But I have not yet been given sort of good enough reason to believe in a sort of creator deity.
Shall we, for example, demonstrate few, for example, because if you wanted to use, for example, what we call it like a reasoning argument, let's say, and that's what I'm trying to focus, for example, nowadays, because I'm a mathematician myself, and I will use my reasoning, for example, and if there is theory to prove it's true, that theory, I shouldn't have any contradictions, basically. There are no any false example, there is no something, even if there is any single false example to that theory, that means that theory is wrong, basically. Now the question is, this universe exists. Do you believe that you exist?
I think therefore I am, as Shaykh would say.
So you believe that we exist, yeah? And this universe exists, yeah? You are in this universe, yeah? How did this universe came into existence?
So I assume what you're heading towards is the argument of contingency.
Leave all of that. I'm just asking you as a person. What's your name, by the way? What's your name? Alfred. Sorry, Alfred. My name is Muhammad, by the way. Okay, Alfred. I'm not asking about what Aristotle, what this. I'm asking you, what's your concept about the existence of the universe? That's all.
Well, so So scientists have concluded, and I'm not a physicist, I have family members who are more interested in this and would be able to explain it better, but scientists have deduced from the evidence that there was the Big Bang that then results in the expansion of the universe. And
Do you accept this? Do you accept this?
I mean, as I say, I wouldn't claim to be an expert, but that is what scientists have argued based on the evidence they see it. And
Okay, this doesn't deny the existence of the creator, because at the end of the day, even with the Big Bang, even with that theory, even though I disagree with that theory as a theory, even with that theory, that is the Big Bang. So everything like singularity, yeah. That's the singularity theory, which is things was kind of a singular form, and then basically the Big Bang happened, and then everything came around. So that's again that thing. It exists, correct? The starting point.
Yeah, it existed. Yeah.
So it existed. So that's here how it came into existence.
Yeah. So this is the argument the argument of contingency that all things that exist, things like you and me and our parents and all the objects and plants and so on, have contingent existence. This is the argument that Aristotle made, that we all exist in a contingent way. So we can only exist because we had parents. That this chair can only exist because there was wood and there was a carpenter and so on.
Yes.
And that in order for there to not be infinite regression, there must be what he called the prime mover.
The prime mover, which is the unmoved mover.
Yeah, so the thing that then sets off a thing that has non-contingent existence. So this is, the argument that he made that was then, passed on to Aquinas and so on. And this is the main challenge that, an atheist will face. And essentially, and this is where kind of atheism and agnosticism sort of blur together. I don't claim to have, and a scientist worth their salt will not claim to have the answer to the question until there is sufficient evidence brought in to back up that answer. And so what we can essentially, all we can say is...
But out of curiosity, have you studied science?
In school, yes, I didn't take it on to university. I'm a historian by study.
So because you're talking about science, yeah? Because when someone talks about science, should have some kind of valid background. So do you have any scientific evidence confirming the Big Bang?
Do I personally? I mean, no, that's not. I only kind of studied it at a sort of young age.
So basically you believe. It's a belief system. Now you have a belief system. It's not about science. Now you believe. Basically you believe in the unseen.
I believe in it. I don't.
So it's not
testimony. By testimony.
Yes, by the testimony
testimony of who?
Of overwhelming majority of the scientific community.
Again, overwhelming majority of the scientific community in the past, they have said some rubbish things in the past, and then they retract. They talk about, for example, the edge of the world, and then they confirm that they even proved it, and then later on they retract. So the problem is, sorry about that. The problem is that you literally built your atheism based on belief system.
I would say
that's exactly what you are doing. You have a belief system. That's a belief system. So it's not a scientific argument. It's not something that you think it's right because there are overwhelming evidence. It's actually the belief system.
So, yes, I think you should make a distinction between belief and faith, because those aren't quite the same thing.
No, actually, I will say it's faith. I will say it's more than faith. Do you know why? Because again, faith. I will say it's exactly the same. You have a faith system as well. Because now here, you surrender your faith to scientists to dictate what they say, and then you just accept it. So the faith, you were not there, you didn't do the study, you just accept.
Well, so what I would say to that is, as you mentioned before, the idea of the Big Bang does not preclude the existence of God. God could have caused the Big Bang.
I'm not talking about this. I'm saying, I'm not talking about the existence of God. I'm not saying, listen, we are not here discussing now for example, we talk about the existence of the universe. We didn't come to the point about the God now. We didn't talk about this. I ask you my question from the beginning.